What's up, people? I'm basically going to be doing a kind of a strange little foray into the world of random matches on Moto, and I don't know, it's been pretty interesting. I've been trying to play some more fringe decks that I normally wouldn't play, like decks that I would have as just casual decks just laying around my house, and just make them on here and go into the just for fun zone. I find a lot of people do only tournament stuff, so I thought it would be interesting to kind of see what brews people are working with. The one that I'm using right now, it's been criticized before as being a money deck, but I don't really think so. It's got some good cards in it, but it's not really. It's not. It's definitely not a tournament legacy or vintage deck. Like easily, it's not. So, um, yeah, I find it's just kind of mid level. Fun to play with though, and I mean some of the cards are a little expensive on here, but thankfully I got them when they were pretty cheap. So here's the deck list first. I'll start with the land. So I've got 4 Ancient Den, 4 Great Furnace, and then some plains and mountains just to round out the 22 land base. The reason that I have the Great Furnaces and Ancient Dens is that I want to actually keep a pretty high artifact count in this deck just because of Pure Steel Paladin, and I'm going to get to the creatures right now actually. So I've got Mirren Crusader, basically protection from black and green. I actually find that a lot of the decks that I've been playing in just for fun, kind of the randos and stuff, a lot of them are black or green, so this has actually won me quite a few games. It also, I'll come back to it later, but it really works well with the equipment. I've got Pure Steel Paladin, basically making it so that any of my equipment can just be equipped willy-nilly whenever I want, and just gives me some card advantage, so it's the whole reason for him being here. Stoneforge Mystic is usually the one that I get criticized for, but I mean, it's a powerful card, but I don't think that this deck breaks the format or anything. It's a pretty simple deck, basically just almost what Standard was a few years ago, with just a couple of exceptions. Got some Path to Exile, just basic easy creature removal. This deck actually relies a lot on removal. It's more of like a Boros control deck more than anything else. It's got aggro obviously, but just being able to destroy a bunch of creatures or exile a bunch of creatures really quickly is kind of what this deck does, and then just gain some incremental advantage with small creatures attacking with swords and stuff like that equipped. Got Court Homo, basically just a simple, 1 drop 2/2 beater, because he's basically always going to be 2/2. Usually by turn 2, I'll have an artifact out, so he'll definitely be able to swing for 2 most of the time. Then into the red creatures, 4 Goblin Guides. Basic turn 1 play of choice. Yes, it gives them card advantage if they have lands as the ones that they're revealing, but I mean, it's just such a great card. There's no better 1-drop in red. Then I've got Goblin Sharpshooter, which basically, if this were Standard a few years ago, this would have basically been a Cunning Spark Mage, and I replaced it with the Goblin Sharpshooter just because whenever a creature dies, it untaps, and this combos really well with Basilisk Collar, so basically just a board wipe in favor of you. Next, we've got some Mortar Pods. Basically the same sort of thing. It's just a body to stand in the way, block something, sacrifice it, do some damage. I mean, it's a really simple equipment. If Pure Steel Paladin is out, you can equip it onto your other creatures for free just to give them a little bit of extra defense. Yeah, I mean, nothing really special about it. Obviously, combos with Basilisk Collar as well, so you get a one-shot to just destroy something, which has actually worked out quite a few times. Then we've got Umezawa's Jite as the normal, like, first equipment that you're going to be going for when you actually cast the Stoneforge Mystic. This thing is just absolutely absurd. I don't know how it ever got printed. Yeah, so usually if someone's going to criticize me and say, oh, you have a money deck, it's because I'll go Stoneforge Mystic, grabbing the Jite. Basically, just it works in so many different ways, because if I use the counters to give +2/+2, and it's on a Mirren Crusader, That's double strike with all that extra damage. It's ridiculous. I usually will use it for the -1/-1s as a form of control. So if I have, like I said, if I have Mirroring Crusader out and I'm using this, I'm going to get double the counters on it. I can basically just start pinging their creatures off pretty quickly with this. And if I'm about to lose the game due to life loss, I can always just gain some life off of it. So just absolutely absurd. And then I've got Sword of Fire and Ice. Basically, on Mirroring Crusader, he's protection from almost everything at that point, which is nice, other than white, I believe. Yeah, so black, green, blue, and red. And, I mean, this one is just my favorite of all the swords. It just, in my opinion, gives the greatest benefits. So 2 damage to target creature or player, and you draw a card. So, once again, I mean, card advantage is just what Magic is based on. If you have card advantage, you're almost always going to win. It's just, yeah, it's just unfair. But I mean, like I said, even all that, it's not really something that would ever be even close to being able to compete in legacy format or anything like that. It's just a very mid-range deck. So we'll see how it does against a couple of randos, and yeah, it should be fun to watch.